Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm talking about Black Agenda Report. I love coming to Black Agenda Report because it's a way to get one's head straight from all the confusing fake news that gets released by mainstream media. People saying things because it's something that they've heard somewhere before from somewhere from someone, and it's not necessarily true, or there's some kind of political agenda, some gaslighting, some establishment of false narratives. It's good to get one's head straight so we can get a good look at reality. So, here at Black Agenda Report, I'm going to post a link in the description to an article. It's Freedom Writer Fighting for Southern Human Rights. It's written by Margaret Kimberley, one of my favorite writers at Black Agenda Report, and it's from December 14th. And so it's taking on the blue collar worker in the South, the black working class. And I say that, and I say it like that for a particular purpose. Commonly, when people are talking about blue collar workers or the working class, they slide out the phrase into the media narratives of white working class, poor white or white working class, white blue collar workers. The reality is, many blue collar workers are black. And so that phrase that gets slid out as if it were a truth, universally known, that blue collar worker, working class means middle class or maybe poor white. That's not necessarily true. It's a false media narrative designed to conjure up an image. But when you look at the reality, the statistics, who's in the factories, who's in the warehouses, who's toting bags and lifting barges and putting it into power at the blue collar level, often you do see people of color. Often that color is black. And if you go to Black Agenda Report, Margaret Kimberley will tell you all about that. So I'm at this article. She's talking about the Southern Human Rights Organizers Conference that took place. It was in Jackson, Mississippi. It was their 20th convening. And so it was dedicated to the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, Chokwe Lumumba. And it was targeted there in order to put a light on majority black cities in the South. And the fact that some of these cities are unfortunately afflicted by corrupt and ineffectual leadership. And so they're addressing that because what the leadership has done is combine forces with corporations to oppress the black blue collar workers. At least 80% of them are black, and then everyone else. And so that's what this conference was convened to address. Many issues with many activists, progressives, fighting on specific issues that are irrelevant of who's in the White House. Basically, state level activism addressing corporate abuse of power, corporate welfare, the fact that public funding is going to a corporation and that corporation is pocketing most of those public funds rather than paying it back to the taxpayers, the workers, the middle class in those regions. Often the workers at these factories, warehouses, industrial plants, they're contract workers, whereas once upon a time they were able to earn a full-time wage with benefits, sick leave, holidays, vacation time, pensions, things like that. Many of these corporations pocket those public funds, and rather than paying it to the workers, they hire on temporary contract workers. And so one of these employers is Renault Nissan, the auto plant in Canton, Mississippi. And so there was a protest that accompanied the conference. So it wasn't just a group of people who got together to complain or talk. There were also direct actions. And so they protested at that plant unfair labor practices, the inability to form a union, things like that. And so what they're saying, or what Kimberley is saying in this article, is that some of these large corporations target southern states because there's a history of compliance with the worker population. There's a strong history of slavery, indentured servitude, and then also Jim Crow segregation. And so very anti-worker, very pro corporate kind of working environment. And so that this article addresses this. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Again, it's irregardless of who is in the White House, because who is in the White House now is Barack Obama. These events occurred under the Obama administration. They may or may not be addressed by the next administration, but the people, the activists who are working on this issue are not waiting for a savior or to be saved. It's definitely a grassroots rising up of workers of color, specifically Black workers of color, to define their workplace rights, which are actually human rights. I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can read this article for yourself and learn what's happening in some of the southern states. Good luck.